Staying on brand, the 2020 Patriots continue to disappoint. To be largely out-executed by a team that's already cashed out on 2020 is nothing to be excited about. If the Patriots defense wasn't so red hot right now, I would have my money on San Francisco to take this game hands down. Now, I know there's a lot you could say about New England's Week 2 matchup, but I have 5 words to sum up this Sunday Seahawks showdown. And it's wham bam, thank you Cam. This element of surprise style versatility has been the Patriots' biggest edge so far this season. Now, although the Patriots are favored to win this matchup, we can't forget that Brian Flores clearly is a man with a plan this year, which makes Miami more of a threat than ever before. We saw the Patriots fall flat on their face to the 49ers on Sunday in the team's worst home loss under Bill Belichick. To put it simply, San Fran SmackDown made New England look like a Pop Warner team on the fritz. The football whisperer struck again. Bill Belichick cooked up one of his best schemes against Baltimore on Sunday night to do what many thought couldn't be done, and that's flip the script on the Patriots' 2020 season. What's up, Patriots Nation? It was like Christmas came early here in New England this past Sunday. The Patriots shut out the Chargers 45-0, their worst loss in franchise history. Now, there are so many Patriots highlights that I'd like to mention, but if I did that, we'd be here all day. So here are a few shout-outs. Bill Belichick now has wins in 50 different stadiums, not too shabby. Cam Newton put back on his Superman cape with 3 touchdowns on the day. J.C. Jackson got his 7th pick of the season. N'Keal Harry finally delivered with his 2nd touchdown of the year, a welcome surprise with his consistent lack of production this season. And last but certainly not least, Gunnar Olszewski brought out the gun show, going 145 yards on 3 punt returns, including a 70-yard return score. Plus, he also pulled in a 38-yard touchdown pass from Jared Stidham. And while all of that is great, the 3-9 Chargers are a molehill compared to the mountain that is the 8-4 Rams. Not unbeatable, but as Bill Belichick put it, they're no joke.
They're at the top of the league in almost every category. They're hard to move the ball against. They make you earn everything. They don't make many mistakes. There's no easy plays. They don't give up many big plays. So a team that has good talent and a lot of good matchups and a good scheme to go with it.
So take all of that and add less prep time against a non-conference opponent. Challenging, but if the Pats want a real shot at a playoff run this season, winning this matchup is a must. In Foxborough, Alexi Iafrato, the Boston Herald. For the first time in a long time, Patriots Nation isn't preparing for a playoff run. But say what you want about Cam Newton, Bill Belichick, and the Patriots this season, the fact that they finished 7-9 with their depleted talent pool and only paid $1 million to a seasoned veteran quarterback, well, that's just value at its finest. Now, was Cam Newton playing at the top of his game? No. But did he have any serious threats to go to? Also no. The Patriots could have easily been on the Jets or the Jags record levels this year, so you have to hand it to Belichick for pulling off what he did with the little he had to work with.
Learned a lot. I certainly learned a lot as a coach. I had to coach and do things that I've never done before, do things differently. There are really a lot of unknowns, a lot of question marks at this time. We'll wrap things up and then move on.
Talk about your classic Belichick, we're moving on response. So in the spirit of the Patriot way, let's talk 2021. First up, next season's opponents. A challenging list to say the least, most notably a TB12 homecoming. Now that will be iconic. Next up, arguably the Patriots' busiest offseason in decades. But before they rebuild, they have 25 impending free agents to sort through. Most notably, of course, Cam Newton, James White, and J.C. Jackson. Just to clarify, the Pats haven't fully ruled out re-signing Newton, according to a Herald source, but re-signing as a starter, that's most likely out of the question. And last but not least, New England's top quarterback prospects in this year's draft class. Picking at 15th overall, the Pats can either take a chance and wait it out or trade up for a prospect they're interested in, which they may need to do, since there could be as many as 8 teams looming around the quarterback market above New England. But despite the crowded space, here are 3 attainable names to keep an eye out for. First up, Trey Lance, North Dakota State. His hype stems around his 2019 campaign when he led his squad to the FCS national title, throwing 28 touchdown passes, no picks, and rushed for 1,150 yards on 177 carries, breaking 40 tackles. Some say he's like a young Cam Newton, but Lance may go in the top 10 given the competitive market for quarterbacks this year. Next up, Mac Jones from Alabama. The Heisman Trophy finalist's nation-leading 76.5% completion percentage helped him shoot up on the draft boards. Plus, he ranks first all-time in his average yards per attempt at 11.2. And last up, Kyle Trask from Florida, who as a redshirt senior led the nation in passing yards and touchdown passes. Plus, he's also thrived in the same offensive system that produced both Dak Prescott and Alex Smith. Now, keep in mind, Bill Belichick could go the veteran quarterback route once again, considering there could be some viable options either via trade or free agency. I mean, hey, we could see a Jimmy G homecoming. I'd take that. But no matter how the Patriots get a quarterback, this offseason rebuild is about to be a wild ride. So Patriots Nation, it's time to buckle up. Until training camp in Foxborough, Alexi Iafrato, the Boston Herald. What's up, Patriots Nation? Now, just when you thought their playoff chances had flatlined, the Patriots find a way to stay alive another week, pulling off the unexpected once again in Week 12. And when I say the Patriots pulled it off, I mean their special teams and defense. Between Nick Folk's game-winning 50-yard field goal, Dante Moncrief and Gunnar Olszewski's masterful kick returns, don't even get me started on that blindside block call, and punter Jake Bailey's booming kicks, finishing with a net average of more than 47 yards per punt, I'd say the Pats' special teams were the highlight of the matchup. Defensively, New England's defense shook up one of the league's best dual-threat quarterbacks in Kyler Murray, holding him and his weapons in check, which gave Cam Newton and company's struggling offense some hope. And to say they struggled is actually putting it nicely. To be completely honest, New England's offense looked like a dumpster fire against the Cardinals. Cam Newton led the torching in arguably his worst career performance, putting up a 23.6 passer rating, the lowest in his 142 NFL starts. And to add fuel to the fire, Newton's weapons were anything but. Inconsistent has been their middle name, but their Week 12 performance was just downright bad on all fronts. Plus, the Pats' one offensive star, Julian Edelman, was just added to the COVID reserve list. But despite their offensive woes, the Pats managed to improve to 5-6. Their next matchup against the Los Angeles Chargers, who at 3-8 are much more of a threat than their record reveals. The Chargers, led by stud rookie quarterback Justin Herbert, have kept all but 2 matchups to 1-score affairs. Since becoming the starter in Week 2, Herbert has racked up 3,015 passing yards, joining Patrick Mahomes as the only league signal caller to pass 3,000-plus yards in the first 10 games of their careers. Just this past week, Herbert tied Andrew Luck's rookie record for most games with 300-plus passing yards, putting up 316 yards against the 8-3 Bills in Week 12. It certainly helps that Herbert has an arsenal of weapons at his disposal, including league-leading receiver Keenan Allen, tight end Hunter Henry, and star running back Austin Eckler. And defensively for LA, their key guy is no other than DN Joey Bosa, a pass rush nightmare and top-tier snap disturber. His 7.5 sacks on the season rank him among the NFL's top 10 leaders. Now that we've broken down both teams, there are 3 key questions heading into this matchup that we want to ask ourselves. Number 1 is, can the Patriots' passing game improve against LA? Number 2 is, can the Patriots' run game improve against a shaky Chargers defense? And number 3, can the Patriots' defense contain Justin Herbert and company? So number 1, the Pats' pass struggled against the Cardinals, and the Chargers' passing D is similar to Arizona's. Let's call it below average, which leads to number 2. New England's run game is probably their best chance, considering that and the Chargers' run D allows 4.8 yards per carry, ranking them at 30th in the league. And defensively, well, New England's defensive squad simply needs a Week 12 repeat performance to defeat this talented LA offense. So let's be real. If the Pats want any chance of making a playoff run this season, they need to go 5-0 or 4-1 with the rest of their schedule. And given the fact that they have the Rams and the Bills up next after the Chargers, I'd say this game is even more of a must-win than it already was. In Foxborough, Alexi Iafrato, the Boston Herald.